Well, I'm finally home.
February 10th, 2000. This was supposed to be one of the best days in Cincinnati Reds history. Ken Griffey Jr., the Michael Jordan of baseball, maybe the sweetest swing in baseball history. The man who literally saved baseball for the city of Seattle, Ken Griffey Jr., wanted to come to the small market Cincinnati Reds. He wanted to go home. He wanted to be happy. It actually was romantic as shit, until it wasn't. We all know this tale. The kid comes home on a bargain deal, gets hurt. Jim Bowden, who actually thought he was going to become a rock star after this, was never able to surround Griffey with what he promised. So, the kid ends up leaving unceremoniously in a 2008 deadline deal to Chicago. And as I speak, in 2024, he is actually the Reds' 6th highest paid player at age 54. Anger, bitterness, disappointment, that's all that surrounds this topic to this day, and justifiably so.
I wonder why.
But what if I told you that Griffey Jr.'s time in Cincinnati wasn't the failure we remember it as, but his homecoming was actually a success?
Say what now?
And this isn't a what-if scenario. Nah, we are looking at just the cold hard facts this time. It's go time, baseball fans, because we have the biggest good vibe challenge yet. Looking back to all of the positives, the story, the buzz, the numbers, the moments, including a neat Jay Bruce story.
But wait, there's more.
Oh yeah, we can't forget the Mariners' perspective too. But do all of these positives make Ken Griffey Jr.'s 8+ years in Cincinnati actually a success? Welcome to Good Vibes Baseball. Please consider subscribing if you haven't. I do appreciate you either way. Now let's get into some good vibes, shall we? Reds fans are some of the best in baseball. You want to talk about passion for your team? When the Reds are good, nothing else matters in Cincinnati. And Ken Griffey Jr., well, he grew up as one of those fans. He was one of you.
Congratulations, you're officially one of us.
One of us. One of us.
And this is a big part of our first major positive to this debate. Junior's happiness mattered. Ken Griffey, his pops, was a great player for the Big Red Machine and their back-to-back World Series titles of 75 and 76. Junior grew up navigating locker rooms full of baseball legends as a child. Johnny Bench once claimed Griffey Jr. stole a face mask of his as a kid. His own legend even started out in Cincinnati, as he was drafted first overall out of Cincinnati's own Archbishop Moeller High School. He was a Cincinnati kid, so when Griffey Jr. shocked the world and made the choice to not sign an extension with Seattle, well, it wasn't a surprise that the Reds were the one team he ended up wanting to go to. He loved spending time with his dad. When his father was traded to the Yankees after the '81 season, Griffey wasn't able to spend as much time with Junior. Junior didn't want to do that to his family. So, after initially almost being traded to the New York Mets to pair with Mike Piazza, sorry Mets fans.
Why are you the way that you are?
Griffey Jr. was traded to the Reds, and as he said, he was finally home. This matters. Baseball needed a happy Junior. His play to finish the 1999 season wasn't great. He admitted that not being able to see his family very much to end that year wore on him. His numbers actually show a dip too. His batting average was .312 on August 6th. He ended the season at just .285. He played with such joy and passion that just wasn't present when his heart wasn't in it. The player that we had grown to love, that backwards hat wearing, 50+ homer bat with gold glove defense, needed to be happy to be that player. So the Mariners were forced to trade the face of baseball back to his original home. Little would they know that they'd actually win this deal.
What did he say?
We'll come back to that though, I promise. But that's the first big positive. It was the perfect story. Griffey Jr. was happy. In fact, his dad once said that he came here because this is the place that makes him the happiest. Good for him. And the Reds? Well, they had the best player in baseball. That city was ecstatic, which takes us to our next positive. Do you remember the buzz in Cincy? It's really hard to convey what that February 10th, 2000 day felt like. And the Reds aren't even my team.
Everybody stay calm. What's the procedure, everyone? What's the procedure? Stay calm! Wait.
For my Reds fans out there, take a moment, remember that feeling. Imagine Ronald Acuna Jr. It's now 2028, he spent the last 11 years with the Braves, is the face of that team, maybe baseball, is on his way to setting maybe some all-time records. And out of the blue, he just decides to leave Atlanta? Oh, and he wants to play for the Royals. That's essentially what happened that February 10th day. This wasn't just Reds news, but was national news. In Cincinnati, well, they were over the moon. They were getting the best player in baseball at a discount. Remember, Griffey took millions less than he was offered by Seattle, and they did it without losing Casey, Larkin, or Reese. This was on top of a 1999 season that saw the Reds win 96 games. They already had a foundation, or so they thought.
It's true.
But a couple hundred people showed up to the airport to welcome Griffey that day. This was after reports of folks taking their excitement to the streets.
We're streaking! We're going up through the quad to the gymnasium!
It was compared to the day that Pete Rose returned in 1984. They even had helicopters following the Rolls-Royce he was picked up in from the airport as he made his way to the stadium that day. But it mattered so much in Cincy because it meant hope. Hope for a franchise that hadn't won a World Series since 1990. Hope for a city that expected greatness, yet finished 25 games back in their division just 2 seasons before this trade. This was big. In fact, I dare say Griffey Jr.'s arrival in Cincinnati even created a whole new generation of Reds fans. I know I found myself glued to every Reds game I could catch that 2000 season. Fun fact, after the trade, the Reds had to install 10 new phone lines and required fans to take numbers while waiting to purchase tickets due to the large crowds at then Synergy Field. Things may be looking up in 2024 with the infusion of young talent, but barring another World Series title, I don't think there will ever be another Griffey Mania. But for all of the attention and money that Griffey brought the Reds, the off-the-field stuff isn't what most folks have an issue with. It's the on-field stuff, or lack thereof, that people point to as a failure. And I get it. He got hurt a lot. But guess we've forgotten. When he played, Griffey Jr. was still pretty damn good with the Reds. Let me ask you, is a 270, 362, 514 slash line with 210 home runs and an OPS plus of 122 over 945 games a disappointment? Let's ask Carlos Correa or Kevin Youkilis about that, shall we? Both excellent players, right?
It's a trap!
Well, that was Junior's stat line in his 8+ years with the Reds. He just hit more bombs than those two, with them playing in a few more games. In fact, his slugging percentage of .514 with the Reds is right in line with Josh Hamilton's career slugging percentage. Who wouldn't take that in their lineup for 1,000 games? Yes, the biggest issue is that he played in just 6 seasons worth of games in his 8+ years. And those aren't necessarily Griffey-type numbers. But Junior was still great, and take into account what he endured in that time: a torn left hamstring, a torn right hamstring, ankle surgery, a torn knee tendon, a dislocated shoulder, arthroscopic knee surgery, pleurisy, which can actually make just breathing hurt your lungs, a sprained foot, and a dislocated toe.
I was not aware of that.
And he still put up those numbers in his 30s. But he also didn't get hurt right away. His 2000 season was actually very Griffey-esque. Dealing with the pressure of an entire city on his shoulders, he went out there and did what he did best. All with a smile plastered across that face. He hit .271 with a .942 OPS, including a .556 slugging percentage, to go with 40 home runs, 22 doubles, and 118 runs batted in. His OPS plus was right in line with his last year in Seattle at 133 compared to 139. He was an all-star and even posted a better B-WAR than his last year in Seattle at 5.5 versus 4.9 in 1999. Sure, that Reds team disappointed by only winning 85 games, but was that Junior's fault?
No, I don't think so.
His 2005 season was also fantastic. He won the 05 Comeback Player of the Year award after hitting .301 with a .946 OPS, 35 bombs, 30 doubles, 92 runs batted in, all culminating in an OPS plus of 144 and a B-WAR of 3.7 in just 128 games. After years of battling injury after injury, Griffey Jr. showed he could still rake. He also went on to hit 30 more nukes in 2007. All told, he made the All-Star team 3 times in total with the Reds to go with that 05 Comeback Player of the Year award. His numbers also carved out a nice historical niche with the Reds. Remember that injury list from before?
I remember everything.
Well, he endured all of that, yet his 210 home runs with the team ranks him 9th in Reds history. His career slugging percentage with the Reds ranks him 3rd in franchise history. His OPS with the Reds ranks him 7th in franchise history. Is that really a failure? Even not considering the injuries. But it's not just about the numbers. Ken Griffey Jr.'s time with the Reds led to some epic, joyous moments for not just Reds fans, but baseball fans, including a young Jay Bruce. If you want to stay bitter because Griffey got hurt, I get it.
You get nothing!
But each of those injuries was just a bad moment in Griffey's story. But for all of that bad, Griffey Jr. had some great moments while donning a Reds uniform. We all remember his epic 500th home run on Father's Day in 2004, right? Has there been a better father-son story in baseball history? So with Pops in the stands in St. Louis that day, it was only fitting that Jr. would send his 500th career home run into the right field stands. Only 28 players in baseball history have 500 career home runs. And with Pops in attendance, goosebumps.
Are you crying?
He also hit career home runs 400 and 600 with the Reds. Yeah, those injuries didn't stop Griffey from becoming just the 6th player ever to join the 600th home run club. And he did it all as a Red. But if historic home runs aren't enough for you, how about Junior's Seattle return? Classy as shit by the Mariners, but it's not possible without him leaving to begin with. And remember when he proceeded to not hit 1, but 2 bombs in front of that Seattle crowd? Again, goosebumps. Or what about Reds legend Jay Bruce? As a kid, he actually tried calling the Kingdome looking to speak with his hero, Ken Griffey Jr. Fast forward to 2008, and that little kid is now making his big league debut for the Cincinnati Reds, sharing an outfield and batting 1 spot in front of Ken Griffey Jr. Without that trade in 2000, Jay Bruce doesn't get to debut next to his childhood hero. Baseball is the best. But just like with the numbers, it's not just about the moments either. Do you, think the Mariners feel like this was all a success? As a Mariners fan, February 10th, 2000 was probably the worst day ever.
Once again, you have judged correctly.
For all of the joy and buzz surrounding baseball, they were losing their superstar. They drafted him, watched him hit back-to-back jacks with his dad. They watched him dazzle in the outfield. They watched him fly around those bases, scoring from first on a double down the line to beat the Yankees. Baseball was ready to leave Seattle, but Griffey Jr. jump-started that city. Safeco Field was built with Griffey in mind and was dubbed the house that Griffey built when he returned as a Red and was celebrated. So to say that they won this trade actually does feel kind of weird, but they did. Any way you shake it, they won this puppy. Mike Cameron, one of the better pieces coming back to Seattle, actually outperformed Griffey from a B-WAR perspective in just 4 seasons with Seattle. That's right, Mike Cameron put up 18.4 B-WAR in his 4 seasons with the Mariners compared to Junior's 12.9 B-WAR in 8+ seasons with the Reds. The Mariners actually performed better than those Reds teams too, with the M's losing in the ALCS in both 2000 and 2001 while the Reds watched from home. That 2001 Mariners team also won an incredible 116 regular season games, which is tied for the most all time. And what about Ichiro? If the Mariners signed Junior to a massive extension, do they sign Ichiro in November of 2000? Maybe, but remove the initial bitterness and this situation turned out quite well for the Mariners. Griffey Jr. even did get to come back and play his final season in the house that Griffey built. All because he was traded to the Reds. Okay, we get it. Ken Griffey Jr.'s time with the Reds wasn't all bad. But was it really a success?
I don't know.
Honestly, I think it's how we choose to remember it. Yes, he got hurt. A lot. But that's not his fault. Yes, the Reds never went to the playoffs with Griffey Jr. Is it his fault that they never surrounded him with more? He was already on a bargain deal. I understand that ownership couldn't pass on trading for Jr., but as a small market team, they needed to understand what his contract would do. They should shoulder more of the blame for how things went. But that's the thing. Maybe things didn't go according to plan. Maybe he wasn't the Ken Griffey Jr. fans were expecting. But the story? Well, it was initially perfect. The kid comes home. The buzz in Cincy? It was electric. There might not be another day in baseball history like it. There was hope. And when he played, Griffey Jr. was still great, as his 2000-2005 seasons and his place on the Reds' all-time leaderboard show. But he also produced not just traditional numbers, but he produced some all-time baseball moments, all with the Reds. Who else is walking it off with an inside-the-park home run, or turning on a 104-mile-per-hour heater like it was nothing? That was Junior, with the Reds. The joy he played with was maybe the most important key to his success. That's why this move was truly a success. Not because I say so, but because it made Junior happy. And baseball was better for it. So feel how you may, Junior's time with the Reds might not be a success to you. But one thing I will never do, knock someone down for choosing happiness above all else. That's gonna do it for today, baseball fans. Thanks so much for watching. Please consider subscribing if you haven't. I do appreciate you either way. But do you think Griffey Jr.'s time in Cincy was a success? What's your favorite moment from his time with the Reds? Let me know down in the comments. Be sure to leave a like if you enjoyed yourself. I know I did. But until next time, baseball fans, cheers!